Hello and welcome to my review of the Saurus Scar Veteran on Agrodon for Seraphon for Warhammer Age of Sigmar from Games Workshop. Now this model will cost £35 and consists of 30 plastic components. It also comes on a 90 by 52 millimeter oval base, which is quite a decent sized base. It's the same size base as the Salamander, the spawn of Kotek, and it's a larger base than the regular Agrodons. The format of this review will be as follows. I'll take a closer look at the Mini and go through all the detail, how it was to build. We'll look at the spare parts, of which there are a few. Then I'll go through some size comparisons with other Seraphon models and Age of Sigmar models as well. Then, at the final part of the review, I'll go through all of the rules for the Scar Veteran. Now, the first thing I would like to say is this is a little bit of a departure for Games Workshop to make such a terrible box cover art compared to the rest of the range of Seraphon. I'm not sure why they're doing this, but what's so fantastic about having half of your box as red when you can just have the full unit there on display. It's a bit of a shame because it does stand out, and if they were going for one format, why not have that one format throughout the whole range? Why have this particular unit have the half of the box as red? It's really strange and odd, and it just doesn't work on the shelf either. It's also a departure from them in that it's quite pricey. A lot of these Seraphon products, I'd say, are more expensive than they could have been. I think one of the reasons is they don't expect to sell that many. I don't think it's a big main popular army compared to Stormcast or Slaves to Darkness. So if they're predicted to sell less, they bump up the price a little bit. The biggest departure from norm, though, in terms of this particular model and product is it's £35 for one model. So not even a dual build kit. So if we compare this to Eternus, which I had a whole load of fun building, Eternus is a dual kit model. You can build either Eternus or a Chaos Lord on mount, and it consists of more than double the number of components compared to this Saurus Scar Veteran for only £2.50 more. So £2.50 more, you're getting more than double the pieces and a dual build kit with other minis in different armies. And Eternus is a relatively new model, only came out at the beginning of this year. So already you can tell there are a few things that I would have changed. I would have changed the box art. I would have had it as a dual build and have some kind of Saurus Agrodon leader. Maybe they thought it would be too similar to this Scar Veteran, but I still would have liked that option. The price, the number of components, and it not being a dual build. Luckily, however, the model itself is gorgeous. But is it £35 gorgeous? Let's have a little look. So the beauty about this model and all of the other Agrodons, for that matter, is that you don't need to glue the rider onto the Agrodon itself. This one doesn't have a plug and socket mechanism. He just simply rests on there. And actually, there's no other contact points. So you could do away with this banner, I guess, and just have it as a dinosaur walking around if you wished. There's no physical attachment points for this rider, so there is that option. If you didn't want to have him on, or you didn't want to use him for Seraphon, you could just have him part of the planet that you're on, I guess. But that's great that you can remove him, and he's quite easy. I would suggest you do this. I would suggest you do that. I think I did it in the live stream. Make a point about sub-assembly. It'd be better to paint the Scar Veteran off of the Agrodon and then glue them together once they're both complete. So apart from that, the detail is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully you can see this on the camera. You can see all of the scales and the feathers and the teeth. the tongue. You know, this is as close as we're getting to Velociraptors in sort of miniature form from Games Workshop. You know, I think it's incredible. I had high hopes with the Raptidons. Here is a Raptidon, and I think they are also very cool. They kind of look like a cross between raptors and the Dilophosauruses, though, especially, you know, especially with that sail and the headdress, the head sail there. But they've also got feathers, which is, you know, more reminiscent of dinosaurs nowadays. But yeah, very, very cool model, lots of detail. Yes, it's £35, but you won't be disappointed adding this to your Seraphon force. Let's go through the spare parts first of all. He comes with a number of different looking heads. I chose, and headdresses actually. So you can have him with, I think this head, screaming. You can't put that headdress on this head, so you have to pick one or the other. I just thought that he looked better not screaming, considering that the Agrodon is. You can also choose him with this head, again not screaming, with this headpiece. I just think he looks more kind of veteran, more leaderish with that, you know, more with the helmet on rather than just his normal kind of head. You know, some of the Agrodons in the Agrodon Lancer sets have feathers and things and helmets, and I think he would just look pretty basic if he didn't have that at all on here. The other weapon you can use instead of the spear, but why would you, is this kind of like pickaxe type weapon. Yeah, not a fan. I don't think it looks good. The spear is definitely the way to go, and also you could proxy him in your group of Agrodon Lancers if you wanted to, I say bump up the numbers, but replace like a drummer or a icon bearer if you didn't want to use those in the unit of 3. So not many spare parts at all for this £35. You know, that's another reason. That's another point to make. As I say, with Eternus, you're getting your 71 components as opposed to just the 30 here. So size comparisons then. We have the spawn of Kotek right here on the same size base. I think they go quite well together. Obviously, the Scar Veteran is slightly more expensive, £2.50 more, and of course way bigger. Then we have like a skink compared to the Scar Veteran. They're going to look very odd near this big Saurus, you know, veteran warrior. Comparing him to other Saurus minis, so this is probably a good one. So this is just from the Agrodon Lancer kit. You notice that the cavalry base is smaller, and I'd probably say this Agrodon Lancer, like the Agrodon looks bigger. It's clearly the pose, but I would have liked to have seen a more beefed up Agrodon for the Scar Veteran. You usually find that in other armies, that the creature, like the Orcs, Beast Riders and things, they have a slightly larger, you know, mount because it's a veteran. But in this case, it looks like the normal Agrodon Lancer has a larger Agrodon. It's probably not the actual case, it's just the pose, but yeah, it definitely looks, and this is why. So this is but this can be used as a positive. Like I say, you could have this Saurus Scar Veteran stand in with other Agrodon Lancers as a proxy. Compared to the Raptidon, a fair bit bigger, but again, it's due to the pose. And then you've got a Saurus Warrior as well. These Agrodon Lancers and the Scar Veteran and the other Agrodon Lancers work very, very well with just your normal Saurus, especially if they've got the spears. Size comparisons with other Age of Sigmar models. I do have an Arachnarok. It'd be nice to see like a spider squig face off against dinosaurs and lizards. I think that would be pretty cool. That's where the Arachnarok measures up. Ragnarok's quite a large model really. That's a Troggoth, and then a little Gloomspike Gitz too. So that's where he kind of measures up. Quite kind of medium-sized minis, these Seraphon so far, although I haven't, you know, picked up many skinks. And then another comparison I always like to make is just with some 40k minis, just in case you're a bit new to Age of Sigmar and Seraphon, but you know size of Space Marines and Primaris. So Space Marine barely goes up to the chest of the veteran, and a Primaris, yeah, it's probably, well, neck height maybe. And there's Slimarbo as well, so like a human-sized mini. If we just take off the Saurus, this is a little bit of a precursor to, you know, the Saurus sizes, but he works out to be the same size, which again is a bit of a disappointment. I would have liked to have seen the Scar Veteran to be bigger and the Rider to be bigger, but the Saurus is bigger than a Space Marine, but not as tall as a Primaris, so it just gives you an idea. Could you have him mounting a... No, doesn't quite work. You can't have him mounting one of those. And I think he's going to look a bit odd also on a Raptidon. He's going to look a little bit like he doesn't quite fit. He's kind of overpowering the Raptidon there. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Saurus Scar Veteran on Agridon. You'll find his rules in your brand new 3rd edition Seraphon Battle Tome. Quite a distance from the front, to be fair. He is a leader model and will cost you 175 points. Quite pricey, not as expensive as a Star Master, but more expensive than a Star Seer and a Astrolith Bearer, and only a little bit cheaper than a Bastillodon. So what do you get for these almost 200 points then? Well, you get a movement speed of 8 inches, a save of 4+, a bravery of 8, and 8 wounds. Now that's more than the Agridon Lancers, of course, in terms of wounds. They get 5 wounds each. But there is a very decent synergy between a unit of Agridon Lancers. What's he equipped with? Well, he's armed with one of the following weapons: a Relic Celestite Spear or Relic Celestite Club. Now they're a little bit different than the normal Celestite Club and the Celestite Spear that the Agridon Lancers have. Let me just go through them. So the Relic Celestite Spear is a range of 2 inches, 4 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -2 to rend and a damage 2. And the Relic Celestite Club is a range of 1 inch, 5 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, rend of -1 and a damage of 2. So how that compares to the normal, you know, non-relic weapons is you're getting 1 more attack, a better roll to hit, and 1 extra damage. Whereas the club, you're getting 2 extra attacks and 1 more damage. So overall, his weapons are superior to your normal Agridon Lancers. The rending bites and striking talons that the Agridon itself has, it's a range of 1 inch, 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, rend of -2 and damage 2. That's exactly the same as the normal Agridons. So he is literally on a normal Agridon, which is quite annoying, really. I would have liked to have seen his stats be better. He does have a couple of special rules though. One is Primal Rage. This unit has a rage score that starts at 0 at the start of the battle. At the end of each combat phase, if this unit is within 3 inches of any enemy units, increase its rage score by 1 to a maximum of 3. At the end of each combat phase, if this unit is not within 3 inches of enemy units, reset its rage score to 0. While this unit has a rage score of 1 or more, add its rage score to the attacks characteristic of its rending bites and striking talons. That's pretty good, and it works exactly the same as Primal Rage for the Agridon Lancers. So these Agridons, these Velociraptors if you will, they like to be near enemies. That whips them up into a frenzy and gives them more attacks. You just add its rage score to attacks characteristic. So obviously if it's within 3 inches of 3 enemy units, then you're going to get an extra 3 attacks. So you're going to get 6 attacks there. 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -2 to rend and damage 2, which is quite nice. Alpha Roar. So this is the unique ability that this Scar Veteran has over the Agrodon Lancers. Once per battle, at the start of your combat phase, you can pick one friendly unit with this ability on the battlefield to unleash a feral roar. If you do so, increase the rage score of friendly Agrodon units wholly within 18 inches of that unit by 1 to a maximum of 3. So that's pretty good. It kind of like triggers the other Agrodons if you're within 18 inches of him. Just by 1 though, so it just means that they get an extra 1. So if your normal Agrodon Lancers are within 3 inches of 1 unit, and this veteran does the primal roar, then it's going to increase it to 2. So they're just getting 1 extra attack. It's not incredible. It's an all right little bonus, I guess. Keywords: Order, Seraphon, Saurus, Hero, Agrodon, Scar Veteran. And that's it. I wish there were more. I wish the Agrodon was better. I wish the weapons. I wish there was some kind of extra ability for his martial prowess. But it's just a bit, yeah, basic. I want to use the word. You know, he's quite fast. He's got a lot of wounds. His save is good. He's got a decent number of attacks to hit, to wound, to rend, to damage, but there's just something missing. And it's the same for the Agrodon Lancers as well, but more on them in a upcoming review soon. What do you guys think? I think he's a great looking model. I do prefer Eternus. I'll say that right now. I prefer Eternus as a model and a kit, and rules, of course. I just think there could be more. I mean, this is your Saurus Agrodon character. There should be more. You're pricing him at £35 with 30 plastic components on a dud box. For pricing it at that much, the rules better be absolutely incredible. You know, not pay to win, but they should be awesome for this, because that's what you're basing this on. You've released one model that isn't a dual build kit, so you're locked into just building this Scar Veteran. You'd think that the rules would back this up tremendously. Yes, the model looks absolutely awesome. I just think there's a few things missing, and I hope they address those in another edition. What do you guys think of the Scar Veteran? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Lord Croak protects.